The Meteor became Britain's first operational jet fighter, entering service in 1944. It gave the RAF a decisive speed advantage over conventional piston-engine opponents. Its jet propulsion made interception and disengagement faster than anything the Luftwaffe could reliably counter. In skilled hands, it fundamentally changed what air combat could look like. The Tu-104 gave the Soviet Union a jet transport capability that Western intelligence watched closely. Militarily, it demonstrated that Soviet aviation could move personnel and equipment at jet speed across vast distances. That strategic mobility mattered enormously during Cold War tensions, when rapid repositioning of forces could shift the balance of a standoff overnight. The Comet gave Britain a commanding lead in jet power flight at the dawn of the Cold War. Militarily, it proved that jet aircraft could operate at altitudes and speeds beyond conventional interception ranges. Nations watching its development understood immediately that whoever mastered high-altitude jet flight would control the skies in any future conflict. The Cutlass was designed to carry nuclear weapons at supersonic speeds from carrier decks, giving the U.S. Navy a first-strike capability that land-based air forces couldn't easily match. Its tailless design reduced radar visibility for its era. The concept of a fast, carrier-launched nuclear striker made it strategically significant despite its troubled operational record. The Latécoère 631 demonstrated France's ability to project power and presence across ocean distances at a time when transatlantic reach was a measure of national strength. Its sheer size and range made it relevant to military planners considering long-range maritime patrol and troop movement. Few aircraft of its generation could cover comparable distances without stopping. The C-87 kept entire war theaters alive by hauling fuel, weapons, and personnel across the Himalayas when no ground route existed. Without it, Allied operations in China would have collapsed. Its ability to sustain combat operations over the world's most hostile terrain made it a decisive strategic asset, directly enabling bombing campaigns against Japanese-held territory throughout the Pacific. The Crusader proved itself in Vietnam as a lethal dogfighter at a time when American air doctrine had largely abandoned close-range combat. Its guns gave pilots a close-quarters weapon that missiles couldn't replace. Navy pilots flying the F-8 achieved kill ratios that outperformed most contemporary aircraft, earning it a combat reputation that influenced American fighter design philosophy for decades. The Scimitar gave the Royal Navy its first truly supersonic strike capability from carrier decks, capable of delivering nuclear weapons at low level and high speed. That combination of speed and payload made it a genuine strategic deterrent during Cold War fleet operations. Adversaries tracking British carrier movements had to account for an aircraft that could strike before interception was possible. The Thunderchief flew more combat missions over North Vietnam than any other aircraft in the war. Designed to deliver nuclear weapons at supersonic speed through defended airspace, it proved equally capable with conventional bombs. Its ability to fly fast and low through intense anti-aircraft fire, absorb damage, and still reach targets made it feared and respected in equal measure. The Ohka was purpose-built to destroy Allied warships, and it succeeded. Rocket-powered and guided by a pilot with no intention of returning, it was nearly impossible to intercept once released. Allied naval commanders considered it one of the most psychologically and physically threatening weapons deployed against their fleets, forcing costly defensive changes to carrier operations across the entire Pacific theater. The YB-49 represented a vision of strategic bombing that no enemy air defense of its era was prepared to counter. A flying wing with jet engines and no radar-reflective tail, it approached what stealth bombers would later achieve. Had it entered service, its ability to penetrate Soviet airspace at altitude with nuclear weapons would have made it among the most feared aircraft of the early Cold War. The F-102 was built to intercept Soviet nuclear bombers before they reached American cities, and it carried air-to-air missiles exclusively at a time when most fighters still relied on guns. That missile-only armament reflected genuine confidence in its kill capability. Deployed across NATO bases and American air defense networks, it formed a critical line of protection during the tensest years of the Cold War. The M.52 was designed to reach 1,000 miles per hour at a time when no aircraft on Earth had broken the sound barrier. Had it flown, Britain would have commanded supersonic flight before any other nation. That technological lead would have translated directly into faster interceptors, faster bombers, and a decisive edge in any air war fought above conventional speeds. The X-3 was built to sustain supersonic speeds that would render existing air defenses obsolete. Though underpowered, the aerodynamic knowledge extracted from its test flights directly shaped faster, more capable combat aircraft. The dangerous instabilities it revealed at high speed were solved in subsequent designs, making every supersonic fighter that followed more survivable and more effective in combat. The Starship's military relevance lay in what it attempted, a high-efficiency, long-range platform using unconventional aerodynamics to reduce drag and increase cruise performance. Defense planners watching its development saw potential for future surveillance and light transport roles. Its pusher configuration reduced frontal radar return, a quality that quietly interested military designers even as the commercial program struggled. The He-176 gave Germany the first rocket-powered aircraft in history, and the implications for air combat were immediately understood. Rocket propulsion offered acceleration and climb rates no piston fighter could match. Had Germany developed the concept further and faster, Allied fighters would have faced interceptors capable of climbing through bomber formations before escorts could respond, fundamentally threatening the entire strategic bombing campaign. The B-36 was the backbone of American nuclear deterrence for nearly a decade, capable of reaching any target on Earth without refueling. No Soviet fighter of the early 1950s could reliably intercept it at altitude. Its presence alone shaped Soviet military strategy, forcing enormous investment in air defense infrastructure that drained resources from every other branch of the Soviet armed forces. The Zero dominated the opening phase of the Pacific War with a combination of range, speed, and maneuverability that no Allied fighter could initially match. It escorted bombers to Pearl Harbor, swept opposing aircraft from the skies over Southeast Asia, and gave Japan air superiority across a theater spanning thousands of miles. For nearly 2 years, it was the most feared fighter in the Pacific. The XF-104 led directly to the F-104 Starfighter, a Mach 2 interceptor that climbed faster than anything flying when it entered service. In combat during the 1965 Indo-Pakistani War, Pakistani F-104s used their speed advantage to dominate engagements, claiming kills against aircraft that had no realistic chance of catching them. Pure speed use offensively proved devastatingly effective in the hands of trained pilots. The He-280 was the world's first jet-powered fighter aircraft to fly, taken to the air in 1941, before any Allied jet had left the ground. Its speed advantage over piston fighters was significant enough that German engineers were confident it could sweep opposition from the sky. Had it entered mass production earlier, Allied bomber crews over Europe would have faced an interceptor against which conventional escort fighters offered little protection.